Good afternoon. Howdy, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. So today we are going to be going over the uncut children's patterns, but not Simplicity or McCalls. We're going to do all the other brands because there are so many Simplicity and there's quite a lot of McCalls also. Now, remember, most of these are uncut. This week, I did encounter some cut patterns, which I have in here, and we'll talk about them. Probably the same thing next week. I think next week we're going to do Simplicity because I'll have more time next week. And then the week after that, we start between 4th of July holiday, my friend's birthday, and going back to school. I'm going to have less time, so I'll work on the calls. This is supposed to be iced coffee. I didn't put enough ice in. It's still warm. So it's tepid coffee, which, by the way, I don't recommend for anybody. Hello, Olivia. How is Iowa, by the way? Because today in New Jersey, we have officially started Hell's Front Porch. It was like 88 or something earlier. We're getting rolling thunderstorms. In Iowa, you know what I'm talking about. Also, anybody from Pennsylvania knows what I'm talking about, because when I lived in Pennsylvania, they had them too. Like you can look across to the hills and see it raining in a different county, and you can watch the rain coming towards you. And that's what happens in South Jersey too. Like you can look up and you're like, huh. Then you call a friend and they're like, yeah, it's raining here. And it hasn't reached us yet. Hopefully humid here today. Yeah. Yeah. There might be a front. I don't know if there's a front that just got here or what, but super humid here. It's so cute when I see people talk in like Texas talking about humidity, with the exception of Corpus Christi, which I've been to Corpus Christi and there is like real humidity there. Whenever I encounter people from like desert areas and they talk about humidity, it cracks me up to no end. When I lived in LA and people used to talk about the humidity, I was like, it was funny. But anyway. All right, so before we even get into the patterns, let's talk about a couple things. The coffee that is in here that's tepid, and I don't recommend that, I made in a new special thing that I treated myself to. So let me tell you the whole story. At the end of the year, we always get gifts from parents, and my parents are particularly generous and nice to me. I have some special needs kids. I really kind of work hard to make sure that they're safe and happy. And I might not do it for all my kids, but anyway. So I ended up with cash, which usually I get gift cards, which is very nice. I'm very happy with it because it's not something we expect, but it's something we appreciate. So I ended up with like $35 in cash from parents. So I was like, wow, this is like found money. It's not my budget. It's just like, it's mad money, right? I had been eyeing on Etsy for some time a vintage Mr. Coffee from the 70s. And I pulled the trigger. I bought it. And let me tell you, it came yesterday afternoon, so I cleaned it up last night, so I used it this morning. And it's the 4-cup Mr. Coffee. So it's like beige and chocolate brown with the little like daisies, or they almost look like clovers. I was looking at them yesterday. They really kind of look like clovers. This is the 4-cup one, which I think is hysterical. It makes 4 5-ounce cups of coffee. I was under the impression that I drank about 16 ounces of coffee a day. Now I realize I drink like 40 ounces of coffee a day. I had no idea. Plus this stuff, which I didn't even count this, but so I got up this morning. I'm all excited. I had to go buy coffee filters. I haven't bought them. And yeah, I remember the Mr. Coffees, right? Everybody's parents had them in the 70s. They were a thing. Like it was like the status of a Keurig now was the Mr. Coffee in the 70s. So I got the coffee filters, which they still make for them, by the way. You can get them at Walmart if you're curious. I'm sure you can get them in other places too. It's just the basket filter. I set it all up and I turn it on. And all of a sudden, I'm not kidding you, I got the feels, like the young kids like to say, the youngins like to say nowadays, it gives you all the feels. It gave me all the feels. All of a sudden, I could hear that gurgling noise. And boy, did it take me back, because I've been using a Keurig probably for 15 years. Are they that old? I feel like Keurig's that old, right? Like 15 years I've been using a Keurig. when I heard that noise, it just took me right back to like waking up on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning and hearing the coffee maker going, because my mom's in the kitchen making the coffee and it makes that gurgle noise, right? And yeah. Hello, Evangeline. We're talking about Mr. Coffees, by the way, Evangeline, since you came in, I'm sorry, Evangelina, since you came in a little bit late. We're talking about, I bought a vintage Mr. Coffee and it gave me all the feels this morning when I made my coffee with it. But here's the thing that really got me that I completely forgot about. The coffee was so strong. And this has been my complaint with Keurigs for a while, is I have the Keurig that's the reusable one that you pack yourself with the coffee. And my Keurig has a bold button on it, and it still is it's a little bit better than the pods, which I think are too expensive, and the coffee's always too weak for me. But when I had that drip coffee from the Mr. Coffee this morning, it was like, I was like, oh my God, I forgot that you can make this insanely, and I didn't really try to make strong coffee. I just used the same scooper that I use for my Keurig, which is 2 of them is 2 tablespoons, right? Oh my God. I was like, yeah, I got so much done this morning. It was amazing. But I forgot how really good it tastes. It tasted so good because one of the things that always bothered me about the pods, I used to get the ones that were biodegradable, and you had to do this thing where you took them apart. And you could always see like the inside coffee wasn't even wet. Like it wasn't even getting in there. And I was just like, wow, I forgot, first of all, how really good drip coffee is. And that Mr. Coffee sound, gave me all the feels. I was really, yeah, I was a little verklempt. I was thinking about mom this morning. My mom was a very avid coffee drinker. There are many photos of her in the 60s where she's got the cig in one hand and the coffee cup in the other. She wasn't a drinker per se. She'd have a glass of wine now and again, you know, champagne at a wedding, but she wasn't a drinker. But oh man, yeah. Oh, right. I know. I think a lot of it's funny when I look at old pictures, even if you got on Pinterest and just Google like pictures of middle-aged women from the 50s and 60s. One of the things you'll notice right away is everybody's super skinny. They've all got a cig in their hand, and they usually have a cocktail or a coffee cup in the other hand. And it's so funny. It's like, wow. Like, was mom just always like lit, or was she always smoking, or was she just always like powering through on caffeine? What was going on with mom? But I digress. So we went over the patterns last week. I told you that some of them were cut. So I'm going to show you the one that I'm keeping for myself because it was cut. It was this one. It's in my size. It is super cute. It's a bit girlish for me. The cut part actually is this one, which I don't think I'd make because that to me seems even more, a little bit too young. But this V-neck one isn't bad. And actually, these 2 separate pieces are great to have like in your pattern stash because when you separate them, this is a basic circle skirt and this is a basic V-neck bodice piece. So you can separate them, and there's the line drawings. They're very usable for other things, you know. Yeah. My mother probably drank at least a pot, and we did have the Mr. Coffee, but we had like the 6 or 8 cup one. So we had like the big Mr. Coffee, and she could down that thing. I remember because my stepfather drank tea. He didn't drink coffee. So it was all on mom. And I didn't start drinking coffee till I started waitressing when I was like 17. Talk about a gateway drug, right? Okay. I remember I'm 17, one of my first waitressing jobs, and somebody that I worked with, an older woman I worked with, said, oh, if you're going to work 3 to 11, you're going to need some coffee. Have some coffee. Well, I didn't like coffee. And she's like, well, put some sugar in it, put some milk in it, see if you like it. Well, there you go. Because when I was a kid, my dad used to make me tea, what he called Irish style, which was with milk and sugar, or cream and sugar. And it was milder. Well, then I started drinking coffee when I started waitressing. And that was the beginning of the end. And that's the whole story. And now I'm totally addicted to coffee. I absolutely, yeah. I'm addicted, right? I admit it. If I don't have coffee, about 3 hours into the morning, I start to get a headache because I didn't have any coffee. Every time I have to have surgery or go blood work and I can't have coffee right away, it's the worst. All right, so from the patterns last week, I also decided to keep this pattern. I kind of subtracted this from the price of the patterns to make myself feel better. It did turn out there were about 5 patterns that were cut. I put 2 of them up online. I kept one for myself. The other 2 are a wash, and I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I'm kind of putting patterns aside just for just to maybe donate to Goodwill. Maybe I'll donate them back. The problem with these modern patterns is they don't have the value that a vintage pattern has. You know, even a pattern from 2000 is vintage now. So, you know, I love this because you can really see it on the blue. Can you see this right here? I love that Empire yoke detail that they put in there. It's so beautiful. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, this dress is probably flattering on more than half of the population. Not only does it flare out here, it's got this lovely sleeve up here that's going to balance out your shoulder, a heavier arm, anything like that. It's got a V-neck, which is going to show off the décolletage, right, in a woman. It's going to lengthen everything. It's just, this is such a great pattern for a versatile dress. And if you make it with a structured material, which I probably will, I will probably not make this with a knit. I'll make it with a woven. It's going to hide a multitude of sins. So I'm very excited about that. When I'll ever be able to sew again is beyond me, but I can tell you this. Found a guy that works on Bernina's. He is a couple towns over. It's going to take me maybe 45 minutes to drive up there. I'm going to drop it off next week. So, all right. So before we get to the patterns, I know that you guys want to talk about this. So I went into Goodwill on a whim. I know. I can't believe I got these either. I can hear you all gasping. Like just incredible, right? They're all fat squares. They're really beautiful. Several of them, like I have 3 of these. I mean, just really pretty, right? Obviously, someone who quilted. I have 4 of these. Obviously, someone who quilted passed, and the kids just took her entire collection of sewing. I have 3 of these. This is so beautiful to me. I love that background color, that kind of peacock green. So pretty. I have 3 of these. I think what they did is they just took all of her quilting room, put it in boxes, and took it to Goodwill, which is great for me, but makes me a wee bit sad that they didn't appreciate this real love that their mom had for something. You know, maybe not. Could be a totally different story. My narrative could be completely off, right? Could have been someone who got tired of quilting and just put all of her stuff in a box and sent it to Goodwill, but that's not usually the case. And if you know quilters, I know a couple quilters, they're a little, you know, I love them, but they're a little touched with the quilting, right? There's never enough fabric on the planet. And I'm not one to talk. I'm surrounded by 3,000 patterns, but I'm selling them. Anybody that knows quilters, you know what I'm talking about. They're a little, right? Yeah, at least they didn't throw them in the trash. You're absolutely right, Olivia, because there's probably lots of kids that would have done that. By the way, these were all $1. I love this pattern too. These were all $1.29, but then they were marked down to 88 cents. And I think I'll probably end up trying to sell them at some type of, like I want to sell at craft shows in the future for like $1. And just call it even, right? This, I don't know how well you can see this, but this is purple. It's so beautiful, isn't it? And she, you know, she had all these very beautiful fabrics. So these were all the fat squares. And I in the video, I wasn't sure how well you guys could see this. So these are the other fabrics that are not in fat squares. They might have been at one point in time, or fat quarters. Just really pretty. This one feels like it was at some point in time a fat quarter and got unfolded. It's very pretty, isn't it? It's a very beautiful ditzy print. this one. Now these last 3 pieces, they feel quite a bit bigger. So I don't think they're fat quarters. I think they're bigger pieces. And this one, no, it's not. This one resembles another one that's in there, but it's not the same one. All right, so, oh, and I forgot. This is how I know she was a quilter. This was all in there. This is all quilting stuff, including this little triangle for the patches. It's all unused, unopened, including there's applique needles in here, quilting needles, basting needles, these, which are like the tailor chalks to make for quilting. They use these, I guess, to, I don't know, keep stuff in place. I'm going to take a photo of these. In fact, I forgot to do that today and put those up in my shop. And then there was this thing. All right, so I don't know if you guys noticed in the video, I put this on my ironing board. This is some kind of Target table runner. I'm sure from Valentine's Day. You can see it's a heart motif. I mean, it's cute. I don't even have a table this big to put it on, but I mean, actually my craft table that I'm sitting at is kind of long enough for this, but not even. So what I did was I used it today as the background for all the kids' patterns, which there is method to my madness. By doing that, I'm able to, hi, sweetheart. No, my dog does not like thunder. He's very scared. So he's over here by me. I know it's raining again. I know. Yeah, he's very scared. And it's raining again. And he doesn't even like the rain because he knows that what follows the rain is the thunder. So it's a sad thing all around. Okay, you all right? All right, buddy. Oh, and I just pulled a tick off him. How nice. Yeah. The joys of pet ownership. Let's see if I can kill this guy. All right. 1 minute, guys. I have to get a piece of tape for this tick. All right, dude, you can't. Okay, you're right there. Come on, you gotta move. There we go. Bear with me, everybody. Tick break. Any of you who live in tick-prone areas know what I'm talking about. You need to deal with them ASAP because it's amazing how an object this small can move as fast as they do. Okay, we're back. If you hear a noise, it's a fan because I'm not putting on the air conditioning because when we have these storms, it gets super hot. Then as soon as it rains, it cools off. So, but this is what you do with a tick. If any of you were interested, you put them in Scotch tape and it suffocates them. I used to flush them till I found out these things can swim and live in water for like 48 hours without drowning. I was like, yeah, Olivia, I'm with you on that one. My dog does not like the thunder, but he really hates the fireworks because he thinks fireworks to dogs sound like gunshots. Sounds like we're under attack. And the crazy people that live around me think that any day in the summer should be a celebration with fireworks. And it's like, but what are you going to do? In New Jersey, fireworks aren't really illegal. So yeah, not the small ones anyway, not like firecrackers and stuff. All right, well, let's stop talking about crazy people and let's start talking about amazing vintage children's patterns. So let's start with a couple that I have right here. So this is the second one I have. Sorry, I had to put some of these into bags because they were kind of fragile. This one isn't too bad, though, so I'll open up. This is another one of those Pat-O-Rama patterns. This is the second one I found. So for a pattern company that I had never heard of, and you can see there's not really line drawings, it's just these. It's like a whole kid's wardrobe, and it's for 3-year-olds. It's very interesting to me. This isn't the only pattern I found that instead of having like a numerical sizing, like, size 6X or whatever, is instead using the age of the child. This is the Vogue pattern that I was talking about, the Omen. Yeah, I know, right? You're looking at it, and this kid right here looks exactly like Damien in the scene in the Omen where the nanny kills herself, right? At the birthday party. It's the Omen pattern. And then in the back, instead of line drawings, it's just more action shots of the children. I love this guy, though. He looks like he's waiting for somebody to, like, dock his yacht for him. This one, right? And it's funny to me because who would actually do this, right? Would dress up a kid in a blazer now, with the exception of like maybe a wedding. But this is basically still the British school uniform. You know, it's kind of, could you imagine American kids wearing it? They wouldn't. Okay, so this one's kind of fragile, so I have to leave it in the bag. It's a Hollywood pattern. It's so adorable. It's the button-down jumper style dress, the blouse, and then you can also do the dress with kind of a different sleeves, and it's got a little heart. It's so super cute. The directions are seriously falling apart. When I pulled it out to look at it, the pattern pieces were shoved into the directions, and when I opened the directions, they just cracked. So I think I am selling this as a wounded bird because, you know. Hi, Cybele. Oh, I love Santa Cruz. I used to go there all the time when I lived in Cali. Loved Santa Cruz. Okay, so, and I'm just sorry, little break here. Santa Cruz, the team mascot is banana slugs, correct? Is it the college? University of California, Santa Cruz. It's the banana slugs, right? I kid you not. Okay, so Cybele, who just joined us, is telling me that she went to Goodwill on a whim too. There's a lot of whimming going on lately. And right in there, she found a box of 1980s vintage patterns for $6.99. Yeah, it's the banana slugs. Okay, awesome. I can't believe I remember that. Anyway, I've been to Santa Cruz in probably 2003 or later. So here's an advanced pattern. This one, you know what? I can take this one out. It's just, they are kind of fragile. This one isn't so much that it's fragile. It's got a lot of staining on it. And it's some kind of red staining. And I don't really know if it's something like some type of juice that got spilled on it, or if it's possible that red pen somehow got on the pattern. And then over time, it just kept running. I don't really know, but it is a very cute pattern. It's here, I'll show you this line drawing. It's really good. It's a little girl's nightgown. It's very cute. I thought it was a robe at first, but then I was reading it. It's actually a nightgown. Oh, another vintage advance. Okay. Do you guys remember these baby doll PJs? I remember having them actually as a kid and just loving them. You know, underneath here are like little, like tiny bloomer kind of style shorts, you know, that go with your baby doll PJs. This pattern was uncut and still factory folded. In fact, the next couple of patterns were uncut and factory folded. It was amazing that she had them for this long and they were never cut. She never used them, like this one. Every little girl's dream dress. Like, come on. You wanted this dress when you were a little girl. You're going to twirl around the house in it. Come on, I know. We've all been there. The dress to twirl around in the supermarket because we have no place else to wear it. But hey, screw that. I'll wear it to the supermarket. And then we had two advance. This was interesting. She used both of these. Can you see that they're the same pattern, but they have different colorings on the front, which to me was really odd, but whatever. She had used both of them much in, you know, in keeping with Mrs. Landers. They were in absolutely beautiful shape. The only reason I actually knew she used them is a couple of them I had to pull the thread out because she had done tailor tacking when she was doing the patterns. So yeah, there was that. But still, Mrs. Landers, just so nice to her patterns. And then, okay, so we're going to do this pattern. Then I'm going to show you this other one that I probably should throw this pattern away, but I can't. And I'll tell you why in a minute. All right, so there's also this absolutely beautiful butterick dress. So pretty, uncut, factory folded. And look at the 8 million pieces that go with this dress. Yeah, but gorgeous. And again, you know you want to twirl around in that dress, right? We all wanted that dress to twirl around the house and, you know, twirl around the dining room, whatever, right? So this pattern, I actually have to keep it in the bag because it's so falling apart. The top pieces, there's a couple of them, but most of them are gone. You could probably still draft the top, but it would be difficult. You'd have to be talented. But the pants pieces are still in there. They're completely unfolded. The reason I love this is the graphic of this little girl over here with the way she's waving. I feel like she's saying, I give no, right? Exclamation point, right? Beep. I just love the look on her face where she's like, yes, I give. I just love the graphics so much. And I'm not sure what's going on with this girl's hand. I don't know. That is definitely, I don't think anybody reviewed this pattern cover before they noticed that she kind of looks like she's grabbing the other girl's crotch. But maybe I just have a dirty mind. I've been told as much, but it does have that kind of look. But I just love this. I love that graphic. So I put it up online as a wounded bird for $4. I figured, it's worth it if you like the pants pieces. It is multi-sized. So it has, and when I say multi-sized, what I should say is it's multi-sized in that these have 3 lengths on them. So even though the waist is the same size, you could adjust it based on the height of the little girl you were making it for. So, all right. So let's talk about more vintage Butterick. Okay. So, oh, wait, these are out of order. Oh no, they're out of order, but that's okay. We'll do this first. So there's this, because your son needs to sell an Oldsmobile station wagon later today. I'm sure there was a reason that little boys needed to wear ties in the 70s. Personally, I can't remember it. I do love the neckerchief, though, which the pattern's in there for the neckerchief, the tie, and that bow tie. And 2 different kinds of shirts, with and without 2 breast pockets. Just truly, right? And then there's this. It's like the girl leisure suit, right? I mean, it is super cute, but it is basically the girl leisure suit. It does not have any line drawings on the back. They're right here, over here. But this is a girl leisure suit. But, I mean, it is really, let me look, that's cute, right? So cute. And then we get into cottagecore. I love to throw that word around, right? It doesn't get much more cottagecore than this. I mean, look at that. And believe it or not, this piece here, they give you the directions in here to make that belt, which is amazing, but God, it must be really hard to do. I guess if you make it out of cloth, it's not too bad, but, and then this, a little more cottagecore. And we used to call these smock dresses. I don't know if anybody else remembers that. Remember these? We used to call like this top a smock. And then this was like a smock dress. These tie in the back, by the way. The pants are included. Kind of a semi-bell bottom. And then I came across this. I was surprised that this wasn't as valuable as I thought it would be. It is a 1970s Betsy Johnson pattern for little girls, which I didn't know. I knew that she did some patterns, but I didn't know she did them for kids. Maybe I did know. Do I have another one? I might have another one in the collection, but it is for the bibbed overalls, the bib jumper, and then the hoodie. And that is like, I want to go on record. Is this the first instance? Is this the dawn of the hoodie that we see everywhere now? So that's what it seemed like. I was like, is that like the first hoodie pattern for kids right there? Was that, All right. So then we have this pattern. I'll take this out of plastic. This is only in the plastic because when I started to try and put the pattern, after I checked the pattern and I tried to put it back in, it was ripping the sides. One of the things that happens with almost all these patterns is this, see this seam over here? That's glued. And when I go in and look at the patterns, when I take the pattern out, very often that starts to separate it. And it's just because the glue is, all right, so this pattern is from the 70s, which means the glue in this pattern is 50 something years old. Yeah, I mean, it did good, right? So I had to put it in plastic so that I did not further damage the envelope sides when I tried to put the pattern back in after I made sure that it was all there. Then we start to get into the 80s and 90s, really basic girls patterns. And these are out of order again. These are 90s patterns. Somehow I got these out of order. And I don't know who Ruth Scharf is, but if any of you know, let me know. She does a lot of children's patterns, so I don't know if that was her deal or what. And here we go. We're back more into the 80s again. A lot of overalls. A lot of overalls. Yeah, so they were called smock dresses, right, Olivia? That's what I remember them being called. This is the one I used in the community post. It's just so cute, right? It's just a summer sundress. It doesn't come with the applique or anything. The applique is separate, but so cute. And this little over jacket. You can see the jacket. And then we have, these are totally out of order. All right. Now we have these. Now we're getting to the 90s. So I don't know who Brian is, but apparently he designed children's clothes. Don't remember him. And then we're squarely going into the 90s. Some of these actually were late 90s, early 2000s. A lot of fleece. You start to see late 90s. I think this one was 99. Fleece. Lots and lots of fleece. And then we have this with this swinging. Look at this swinging dude, right? He goes to girls in his preschool. Oh, and here's the line drawings on the back of that other one. And then we have this. Very cute. This is like 2000. And then we had this, which I swore I had this pattern before, but maybe I'm wrong. But it's a little girl's plus pattern. Let's see right there. It's plus size, but it's for little girls. This is from like 2000. It looks very 2000, right? And it's weird. I didn't know that they made plus patterns for little girls. It's a little bit sad, but it is what it is, right? Very 2000s. I think this was 2000, right on the head, nail on the head. And then we didn't have a lot of baby patterns, a lot of kids patterns, but not babies. So here's a layette set. This is from 2001. This calls for stretch knits and fleece. It's very cute though. The nice thing about something like this is you could really do a really nice coordinated layette if you have the drive to do it, because it is a lot of work. I've sewed children's clothes a couple of times. They're such tiny pieces. It's like sewing doll clothes. They're so tiny. It's like, it's difficult to just sew the patterns. We had a couple new looks. So here was the other baby's pattern. This is also kind of a layette. This was more newborn, toddler. And then look at this rocking outfit. Right? I know. It's not as twirly as some of the other outfits, but yeah, if you're into the Sailor Moon cartoon, I know they should make this in a woman's size for everybody that's into Sailor Moon. Also had a couple quick sews, including this one, which you can see the envelope is worse for wear, but here's the pattern. Never used. Directions are right in here in good shape. None of them were ever used. There's some old tape on it, but not bad. The nice thing about the quick sew, that's super heavy paper that was used, so your patterns don't fall apart over time. And this is so squarely 1990s. But here's the funny thing. I was in Walmart yesterday getting the coffee filters from my Mr. Coffee. These are coming back, and they have the shirt attached to the slip dress. So I don't know if any of you remember these from the 90s, but I certainly do. They were everywhere. Absolutely prolific, right? So they're coming back. They got them at Walmart. And then they have this, a really cute little skaters. Or I guess not really gymnastics because it's got a skirt, but skaters, right? A skater dress, as they're commonly known. Super cute. All of these were uncut and still factory folded, with the exception of the one that I showed you that had the wear and tear. They were in really good condition, really pristine. I opened them up only so that I could make sure that everything was actually in there. And we also have some stitch and save. Now, remember I said I was going to save the see and sew and the stitch and save for later. I am going to do that with women's patterns, but I very quickly went through all of them like Friday and pulled out any kids patterns so that I don't have to go back and do kids patterns later. So we have very kind of middle of the road unisex, right? It's the shorts, the tops, the pants. It's like one shirt, can be for a boy or girl. This very cute thing. There's no line drawings on the back of this because Stitch and Save is McCalls and they don't like to give us line drawings for some unknown reason. But I thought this was cute. I remember when these were popular too. I don't know if it includes the hat because they don't say anything. There's no line drawings. So skirt, pants, tops. Nope, no hat on that one. And then I have found ultimately the oldest pattern, 2006. So this is the oldest this is officially the oldest pattern I've found so far from the Mrs. Landers pattern haul. So it's just a really basic unisex nightshirt, nightgown, whichever you want to call it, and some PJs. And then we had See and Sew. Oh, and you know what? I don't remember these. Thank God I was not a kid during this time because I don't think I would have liked that. When you have to use the bathroom, you have to take the whole thing off, right? But I vaguely remember these for smaller children, but I can't even imagine. Cool. Take that whole thing off. It's like, I remember what are they called? Not unitards. The like leotard type. I remember in the 90s I had a top and it was like a button down broadcloth top on the top, but then it was actually like a leotard, like you connected between the legs and it kept it from coming out of your, skirt or whatever. I stopped wearing it. What a pain in the ass that was. It does, you're right. It is like Full House, isn't it? Olivia was saying that last pattern reminded her of Full House. This is just super cute. Another kind of a sailor variation. I'm wondering if there's something going on that she was doing a lot of sailor type things. This was so cute. Comes with the shirts. A little bit cultish. I started watching Shiny Happy People, which is the documentary about the Duggars, and it's startling. Do not watch it if you do not have a strong stomach because it's bad. More fleece. So it's the fleece. It's not really a hoodie. It's more like a giant turtleneck. And then the pants also. The pants are pull-on. Yeah, right, Olivia? It's really sad, especially when they were interviewing the girl who was like molested by the leader. Not Josh, who molested his sisters, plus probably some other people, and is in jail right now for having child porn on his computer. But the like actual leader, Bill Goddard or whatever his name was, molested some of the girls. It was horrible. The whole thing it was hard to watch, That so looks like Raven Simone, doesn't it? But it's not. I looked at it really close. It's not her, but it really looks like her. Another one of these romper. Are they rompers? Are they jumpsuits? Are they jumpers? What are we calling these, right? Yeah, you know what I mean? And then this thing was so super cute. Another sailor type thing. This is the one I was thinking of. This is the one that has the hat. And you can make the hat. Really cute. And then here's a couple from the 80s. And boy, are they 80s. Look at that. The side pigtail. For those of you not alive in the 80s, we like to put our pigtails, ponytails, whatever you want to call them, on the sides of our heads. I don't know why. We just did. And then this last absolutely beautiful little dress. Very cute. Very, very cute. And that was it for this week. Like I said, I am going to do, next week I'm going to do simplicity because I have more time to do the simplicity. There's a lot of simplicity. As with everything else with this haul, Mrs. Landers really, really likes simplicity. So there's a ton of kids' simplicity. There might be one or two that are cut. I'm probably just going to deal with them as I find them because I have like 5 boxes of cut patterns in that bathroom, that ranging from men's patterns, craft patterns, women's patterns, children's patterns, all of it. So yeah, it's a lot. So that's going to be basically my August. In fact, in August, I'm going to figure out how to keep this kind of entertaining while I'm doing the cut patterns. I think what I'm going to do is we'll just do decades, and I'll just do, every pattern that was sellable from 1940 through 2010 or something like that. I'll figure it out as we get into it. But until next week, I hope wherever you are, it is nice. I mean, like right now here, it's really nice. It's not too hot. The sun came out. It's not raining anymore. There's no thunder. My dog's not freaking out. But, call me in 5 minutes, right? We actually lost power earlier, and I lost the internet. And I thought, I wonder if I'm even going to be able to do this thing, right? Do a little YouTube thing, but we'll see. And anyway, until next week, have a great week. You also, Olivia, have a great week. I hope wherever you are, the weather's good, and like, subscribe, comment. And until I see you next time, thank you for coming by, and stay well. Bye.